I feel like I'm seeing a new side to Woody, and it's kind of unnerving. I don't know how to feel about this right before decision day.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Talking about you guys about Amani and Woody, and we're going to discuss as well about rejection in this particular video as well. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, you share, you subscribe, and you click on that bell button for the notification of the uploads. Alright guys, if you're returnees as well, you got the minerals, you got the minerals. Don't forget to grab your merchandise as well. Make sure you buy something from us guys. Help me, help you to live your life. I'm joking. Alright, let's get into it. So, on this particular episode, I think it was quite interesting. I think Woody and Amani have been amazing anyway, been great. They've shown us how to be intimate and quickly gel. I think, again, the experts have been great in choosing these two together. Now, someone might say lucky to have these two together, but I would say, listen, you know, you make your own luck when you make smart choices. You know what I mean? And this was a smart choice to put these two together. They were the right type of people. They had the right type of energy, the right type of temperaments for one another, especially the way that Amani is able to cool down Woody and keep the dark monster under bay and under wrap. You understand? Obviously, he's done the work as well. He's gone to therapy. He's made sure that he's also done the internal work to make sure that when he's ready, if it's going to a relationship, he can go into that. And I think that's amazing as well and commendable because a lot of people don't do it. So I want to say something. Obviously, Woody was this beginning scene that Woody was saying obviously that he felt his love had grown for Amani, yeah, and it had grown close to 100%. And I want to make this point very, very clear. The type of man that Woody is, someone might say Scorpio, da da da. I'm looking from a psychological point of view, which is that hey, the way that Woody has grown up, remember he's grown up around his mum and his grandma, okay? His dad has not really been around, hasn't really been there in his life, okay? So there's going to be an aspect of rejection, okay? And there's a quote in the Bible which makes me think about, which is that when Christ was talking to Peter and in the house, was it Peter? Simon, sorry, talking to Simon in the house, and he said, "Listen, who would love more? Who would be more grateful? Okay, is it the person who had a debt of, let's say, £50 or $50, or the person who had a debt of $50,000? And if I wiped off both of their debts, who would be more grateful?" Right? And he said the person who had a 50,000 would be more grateful. And it's like when you've been in a situation, and what I'm coming to is when you've been in a situation like Woody has, like many men and many women have, where you lacked the love from one of your parents, because without you, whether you like people like it or not, there is some kind of psychological effect from this. When you've not had that love, though you may not have known the love, you know something's missing a little bit there. There's a form of rejection that comes from it, because when you're asked that question, why did my parent not want to love me or want to be around me, that can then be changed or channeled, okay, into the partner that you're with. Now, I noticed the speed of Woody falling for Amani.
Well, you know what it is then.
It's a joke. Don't make that face, because that was the attitude face.
Right? And that is what probably contributed towards the toxicity of his first relationship, where he said they both cheated and da da da. It was high octane, high pace, high energy. Okay, and so that's why I believe also he made a comment last episode about, I'm not sure if I'm going to be, I'm scared of that. I may not be that guy. What is that? That is, I'm scared that I may tail off. One of the things that even interesting, I'm reason why I'm going to put myself in here. I remember, like my last kind of relationships, they go around about 2 years, and then suddenly the relationship doesn't really work too tough, right? And I remember asking myself the question, like, okay, wait, if it goes 2 years and then it tails off, am I broken? Is there something wrong with me? Am I doing this wrong? Like, and what you don't realize is that, even how you grew up, how your parents reared you, but also as well how you look at relationships, and the fact that a lot of times in the first 2 years, people, is the honeymoon phase. So up to 2 years oftentimes is the honeymoon phase. And so after 2 years, oftentimes that's where people find themselves working to try and make sure that, I am trying to make sure they're trying to work to make sure that they maintain now and grow their actual relationship with the individual person that they're with, okay? Which is why a lot of first-year marriages break down. So with Woody, I see that, the need to want to feel loved is where he's at. So that's why he gives the love quickly.
I'm like 70 something.
70%?
70, 80.
Do you feel like your percentage has grown?
Yeah, I think it's grown closer to that 100.
And the love comes in an abundance. And what he's expecting is that love back, which is why he felt a certain type of way when at the beginning, when they had that conversation on sitting down and they were coloring, and he said, "Oh, I love him. I love you, basically, Amani." And Amani said, "I'm not there yet." And his reaction was, "Okay." Like he felt a certain type of way. Now anybody would probably feel a certain type of way, or they may even say, "Okay, I get it. We're getting there." But the way he reacted, not that it was violent or anything like that. I could see why it was that. It's the rejection again.
I wouldn't even
it's
care
valid.
for it. I probably would walk off, honestly, and wouldn't even need him.
You don't think it's valid for me to say?
I don't feel like it's valid.
It's that, oh, I can't get rejected here, right? And we're going to see that also in this particular episode as well, right? Because a lot of people picked up on the last scene in the bedroom on this episode where Amani and Woody are talking, and Woody says, well, if you tell me that you're not going to make it, then, and you say no on the day, no, I won't listen to you. And to be honest, I wouldn't listen to you anyway. But I know why he wouldn't listen to you. Because I'm not about to listen to my rejection. I don't need a reason for you to tell me you're rejected. Like, fam, you should have told me from early that you didn't want me. So I can go where I am wanted. You understand? Yeah? So that's a big, big part of it. And so Amani in the early scene said, that is deep, right? That he was close to the 100%. And I think the reason why it's deep, again, I think one thing we haven't really spoke about is Amani's cautiousness. Now, I'm not. It's not a negative, but it is something we have to pick up, which is that Amani is cautiously entering in this relationship, and she's testing, making sure. I shouldn't say testing. She's making concrete sure that Woody, although she can see true intentions, is genuinely going to last the race. And so her pace in coming has been slower in terms of her releasing how she feels, because it wasn't long ago that she wasn't able to say I love you. She said I basically like you. I'm not there just yet. But then she got to a point where she said I do love you now, and she said it very clearly. And now it's at a place where she said, okay, that's deep.
I think it's grown closer to that 100.
That's deep. So,
but she didn't reply by saying. I think she said she was at 70% or something like that. She was not close to the 100% mark. Do you get it? And the reason why is because her cautiousness. But here's the blessing of Amani, and why I say the difference between Amani and Karen is a huge thing. And someone might say, why are you comparing? I'm comparing because there are some comparatives we can make about human beings. The way that Amani is processing the risk here is different. Amani's going, I'm not there yet, but I'm still moving. I'm still moving. My voice gone for football. So it's like Amani's still moving. Right? And Karen is seemingly stagnant. So we don't see the movement from Karen. We don't see the willingness to reply to the affection she's getting. So we see with Amani though, okay, you're going to give me affection. I'm going to reply with affection. You're going to do this for me. I'm going to reply with that still. Yeah? So you still see the application. You saw the apprehension. Okay, you saw the apprehension, but what you saw also was somebody also saying, I'm taking my foot forward and taking this risk. And so I know that Woody, when he heard her answer, would feel a certain type of way, but he won't feel that much of a way because she's already said she loves him. So that would be enough for him to be, okay, cool. Yes, you're not at the 100% mark, but you love me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know you care for me. I know that you actually genuinely are in this thing. You get me? And so, relations are like that. Sometimes we don't grow in tandem. We don't grow at the same time in terms of our love. But it's something that you manage as you go along in a relationship. What was interesting was that I noticed that he slightly got stressed when she joked that she hadn't moved. So, she said, obviously, I haven't moved. Basically, her number, whatever. She said she hadn't moved in terms of the affection towards him.
That's it.
okay.
Simple.
I got you.
Have you moved from your percentage?
No, I'm still at 50.
Well, you know what it is then.
It's a joke.
And the way he reacted, I don't know if he clocked that it was a joke. So, because her tone wasn't necessarily jokey, but obviously it seemed like she was taking it as a joke. But his reaction to me didn't seem like it was a joke. For me, it saw like, wait, hold on a minute, you haven't moved, and almost it was going to be an offense taken. And that's what I'm talking about, this whole feeling of rejection, right? Because whenever you felt rejection in your childhood, when you see rejection again in your adulthood, it can be traumatic and triggering. And the defense mechanisms of that can be, you go back and you recede back into your shell, and you're unable to interact with the person in front of you. Or you can go and do the other thing, which is go out and cheat before you cheat, because I need to make sure I get you before you get me, kind of thing. Do you know what I'm saying? And so that's something that we have to be very cautious about, making sure that it doesn't feel rejected. But what I love about Amani, and I think I'll do another video about this, is that she speaks to the man. And she speaks to the man in a way that comforts him and makes him feel confident. Notice she's never made a comment about his masculinity. And yet he went to do, what was it? They did their nails thing or did their hair or whatever together. They went to the salon together, whatever, right? Take care of their feet, right? Never questioned it. Yeah? The man makes passionate speeches. Never questioned his masculinity.
That is honestly, like, it's different, man. I'm kind of getting choked up right now, but it's cool.
Never mentioned that he's sensitive or anything like that. And this is what I'm talking about. There are people that have grown up in toxic environments that can't appreciate that masculinity isn't linear. It's not the straight line. There are different aspects of masculinity. And that ability for her not to question him and to make him feel safe is beautiful. It's impressive. It's needed. You understand? And so I'll talk about them meeting their people, I think, on a separate video. What was interesting was how Woody, at the dinner, first of all, when he was at the dinner, it was interesting because at the dinner, Woody ate all the oysters. Now, I'm going to point out something. The inconsiderateness of Woody, I've seen twice now. And I think there is something about Woody. It's not a bad thing where it's like, it's a red flag or anything. It's something that will irritate and will need to be addressed eventually. Some episodes back, when Woody and Amani were sitting with Miles and Karen, Woody did something which was interesting. He dipped his tissue in her water and then wipes his face, right? And Amani was like, wait, hold a minute, you just dipped your tissue in my water, but she didn't make a scene of it. She made it a joke. In this episode, again, he ate most of the oysters that she ordered.
I had 3 oysters.
Where they gone? I'm sorry. I apologize.
Are you out of your mind?
They gone.
The dinner is canceled.
Okay, and he was like, I'm sorry. It's gone. It is what it is, right? And Amani, again, didn't make much of an issue of it, but she mentioned it. How are you going to eat all the oysters? I only ate 3. And again, the inconsiderateness will have to be pinpointed, because I believe it will come up later on. It will be something that will frustrate her. Listen, we've all got shortcomings. This is about talking about shortcoming. This is not talking about how it's going to destroy the relationship. It shouldn't destroy the relationship, yeah? So long as it's addressed, it shouldn't destroy the relationship, because it's a small thing. It's something that maybe he's not aware of, right? That, bro, listen, like, just like when it's her thing, it's her thing, yeah? Like, I wouldn't dip my tissue in someone's water. I don't care if you're my babes or not. I'll be like, babe, can I use a bit of your water and pour it onto my tissue? On my tissue. Can I put a bit of the water onto my tissue and just wipe my face with it? Then she can go yes or no, right? Or I can say, she might say, okay, go to the bathroom instead. I'll be like, alright, no worries, right? And then also the oyster thing. If you've ordered it, like, maybe something I do. Maybe a lot of us do. I would consider the fact that you've ordered it. Let me not eat all your thing. You know what I mean? Like, let me eat a few, but I'm not eat all your thing. You ordered it. Like, for instance, like the other day, me and my missus ordered Chinese, right? She ordered rice, stir-fried rice, whatever, or special fried rice. I ordered a noodle thing, yeah? Now, my meal is a noodle. Your meal is a special fried rice. Obviously, we shared, didn't it? But you bought the special fried rice. So, what do? I'm like, I'm happy and tell you, listen, look, you can eat as much of my noodles, I don't care, right? I've ditched my own, but when I went to have some of hers, I didn't take a huge swab and be like, yeah, left there was 1/4 of the food left. No, I just took a little bit, added it to my food, because I didn't order it. You understand? You ordered it, which means you fancied it. So now, if I then come and take all your food, that's an inconsiderate move, because that's what you were desiring at the time. Yeah, so it's about having the togetherness as a team, but the autonomy, but having your own autonomy, but also at the same time as well being considerate, understanding that yes, we are together, but I shouldn't like, you know, be inconsiderate of your feelings and be inconsiderate of the fact that this thing is yours. Like, you have your boundary and your line, right? So that's something that's small, something small.
But days will say no. Don't be no surprise. Just tell me in advance.
Plot twist.
Like, do you have any last minute?
You know, and then obviously, you know, he mentioned something here. He said, obviously, look, if you weren't gonna say yes on a D-Day, you know, just let me know in advance. And let me be honest with you, when you fear rejection, I think the same thing that he said, I would have said the same thing as well, because I have a little bit of that in me as well. So I know that, you know, I would say, listen, if you're gonna just reject me, like, yo, tell me in advance. There's no need for us to go to D-Day thinking you might want it or you might not want it. No, just tell me in advance. You know what I mean? Karen and Miles can't do that. Yeah, they can't do that, right? But they might have had a conversation in the behind the scenes, right? But with Miles, I saw that with Woody mentioning that. It's like, don't waste my time, bro. Like, I don't want to be rejected. Like, there's no need. Like, just tell me now so that I know I can make plans and prepare for it. You know what I'm saying? I can cushion the blow. And so that's why the hair situation also is before the pregnancy part. The pregnancy part is the trigger, right? You know, like when you know that girl that aborted her child, and he wasn't consulted. Can I be very honest with you? There's no way that particular situation triggers you that you want to control the hair of your woman. There is no way. It's before that point. Okay, the controlling part of someone said it's really controlling. I don't think it's necessarily controlling. What I do see is that he wants to maintain a level of non-change. don't do too much change around me, because I get agitated, because the reason why is because when the change happens, I don't feel in control. And this goes back to I said about the fact the rejection and the fatherlessness. It's an aspect that then plays in the person that, okay, I can't control that part of me. That's God. My dad ain't even around. I can't control that. What I can control is what's in front of me. And so that then becomes an aspect in your relationship. Do you see? That's why I said that you have to diagnose the thing from the root cause. The pregnancy part, yes, it was a big thing, but it's not the cause. It's not the reason why you wanted to say to a woman, don't change your hair without consulting me first. That's not why. What does pregnancy or abortion, have anything to do with someone's hair? It's got nothing to do with the hair. It's got nothing at all. They're not even in the same league. So what we're talking about here is the fact that the need to control your environment and your circumstances so you don't feel powerless again, because when your dad left, you were powerless. You were powerless. And so in order to cover that feeling of powerlessness, what we've covered it is with leaves and said, okay, I will control my environment. I don't want to see too much change. You understand? Now, I haven't got a fatherless, my dad's there and everything like that. But whether your parents are there or not, a lack of attention in certain areas from your parents can cause the same thing. A deficiency from your parents not being able to give you a certain amount of love in a certain area can cause the same reaction as somebody who has no father at all, no mother at all. Alright? And so he makes a comment saying, obviously, before the process, he never believed in love. Again, we're talking about the fatherlessness as well. If you haven't seen that, how are you going to replicate that? If you've never seen that, how would you desire it to want it? You understand? So for him, before the process, he never believed in love. But he's met somebody who matches him, who gets him, who got the same energy as him, the same vibe as him. He's in a winning position. Do you get it? Because right now what he's seeing is somebody who's just like him. You understand? So now, and that's why, he began to choke up. And again, I want to make this clear. Notice how Amani does not highlight it's weak, or it's sensitive, or it's feminine, that my man was tearing up a little bit. Yeah? She never made him feel like, you know what, you shouldn't be doing that. You understand? Because when you do that, you destroy any vulnerability that man's going to have towards you again. I hear girls saying a lot of times, I can't wait for my man, I want to see my man cry. I want to see my man cry. But are you a safe space for him to cry to you? You are saying you want him to cry. Are you a safe space? Are you a safe space for him to cry into? You have to ask that question. You know what I mean? You have to ask that question. Am I a safe space? I'm saying I want him to cry, but am I a safe space that when he did do that, I wouldn't feel like, oh, he's not a man, or he's not masculine, or I might say something like, you're not sensitive. You know what I mean? Like, you have to understand that. Yeah? So that was important. And, she asked a very sensible question, which was, how do you think you are?
Why did you feel like you didn't believe in love, but you were ready to be married? That makes no sense to me.
Because I knew what I wanted in life. I wanted to be married, but I didn't see how.
Ready to marry, but you don't believe in love. And his answer was that, you know, because his answer was in the sense of that he couldn't, you know, he couldn't picture that. But when he met her, when he saw this woman, almost like Adam seeing Eve, I knew. You know what I mean? Like I came into this knowing that, okay, this is real. Like I didn't believe in it, but I knew I wanted to get married. You know what I mean? And so that's a two-edged sword. It's a two-edged sword because, bro, if you didn't believe in love, but you believed in but you wanted to get married somehow, then there could be a highlighting, an over emphasis on the fact. Also, there could be an over emphasis on marriage and being married rather than actually the person you're married to. It's almost like I like the idea of you, not liking you. You know what I mean? I like the idea of you, but I don't actually like you. And the same thing is like, I like marriage, but I like the idea of marriage, but I don't like you. And so that's why sometimes it can be an overemphasis on liking marriage and wanting to be married and wanting to have a committed relationship like that. And there could be an overemphasis on that. I'm not saying that's what he is, because we haven't seen that proof per se, but just, when you hear certain words, you have to see something behind it. You know what I mean? And so
I can't see myself without you.
I love the fact that he said obviously he cannot see himself without Amani as well. And I think when you do genuinely meet somebody who you care about and who you love and who actually gets you, you say these kind of statements because you're like, when you feel like somebody understands you and they get you, not just on a sexual level, but when they get you on a mental, when they get you on an emotional level, okay, and they understand that is such a blessing. That you feel support, because a lot of us grew up in homes where we didn't get the emotional and the mental stimulus from our parents, whether your parents are there or not. Yeah? And so when you meet a partner that promotes understanding, that promotes empathy and love, that promotes safe spaces, that promotes care for you, then you've met somebody you've met your match, and so that is a huge thing. And so, whenever Woody makes these glowing statements, Marnie never makes him feel like he's doing too much. She never makes him feel like he's going over the top. She never makes him feel like, wow, okay, slow it down. I think what Marnie maybe in her head is thinking is this going to last? Are you saying sweeping statements but not going to last the course? But
I can't see myself without you.
So sweet.
Oh, sweet, make it.
When she's listening to these things, you don't hear her ever articulate anything different apart from wow, and I appreciate that, or I like that. Do you know what I mean? That's all. And so, it was interesting because even her response to and listen, watch if you listen to Amani, you never really hear her saying a sweeping statement back. I think it's only one time when he was sitting down, like episodes way back, where he mentioned how much he cared for her at the kitchen table, but more time, whenever she's replying to his sweeping statements, she won't make a sweeping statement back. That's not a problem. Do you know why? Because the way she receives it, yeah, is what's important. It's the way that she takes it on. It's the way that she holds on to what you said. And so even when she replies back to Woody in this particular case, she says, she said, obviously, I want some brown sugar. You know what I'm saying? Like, that singing itself tells me that you're comfortable with what I've said. You've not made me feel uncomfortable. Now, she sung that song and it's not a big thing, but it's the fact that the song that she sung is not important. What she did is what's important. She never made it awkward that you've made a sweeping statement. Like, certain men will never say romantic lines to their girl because their girl will go, they're scared the girl will laugh at them, or they're scared the girl will make them feel shame or embarrassment. So certain men will never bare their heart openly like, I really care about you, really love you. Because what they don't want to hear, what they don't want is to be shamed, embarrassed, or to be, made fun of, made poke of. You understand? So if you're a woman, and listen to this very carefully, if you're a woman, you should never, and I mean never, number one, question masculinity. That is a red flag. Number two, here's what you're never going to do. You're never going to make your man feel shame, embarrassed, you understand? Laugh at him when he's bearing his actual heart to you. Never do it. It is the surest way to end up dead in a relationship. When I say dead in a relationship, your relationship being dead. Because the emotional vulnerability, when a man feels like he can finally be emotionally vulnerable to you, alright? Bear in mind, a lot of men are guarded. Yeah? When he feels like he can be emotionally vulnerable to you, your job here is to receive. That's feminine. Receive it. Receive it. Take it in. Enjoy it. You understand? Even if your words are, babe, thank you, I appreciate that. We don't need a paragraph back. Just receive it. You understand? Yeah? The same way you receive the seed to give birth to a child. Do you feel what I'm saying? Let me leave it there because there's a whole, there's a whole video we could do again with the bedroom scene where obviously Woody talks about the fact that if it comes down to...
Would definitely not even hear you anymore.
So then you'd be like going with my point.
Of not listening to you at all.
The D-Day, would he stay around and listen to Amani's speech? Let me be frank with you. Amani, I'm going to be frank with you. Listen, I ain't trying to stick around to hear what your speech is either. Maybe I would actually. Saying that, I probably would try to hear what you're saying. But then I might use it as like, is that what you're telling me? But this is what you were telling me before. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Woody's like, I'm not going to stick around. Like I said, because it leads into his fact that don't like rejection. So I'm not going to stick around to listen to your excuse. There is no excuse. You say you don't want it. All right, let me be free. You feel what I'm saying? So I get that. Amani's reaction was funny because obviously I'm like, Amani, why are you acting that? But it's because the earlier conversation before that was about listening. So there was an earlier conversation about how Woody has a short attention span. And we addressed that in another video where she was talking to her mum. Talking to her friend. But Woody has a short attention span. And so because of that, a short attention span to her anyway. And so what she needs is from him is that he actually listens. Takes time and listens. Because what we have heard from Woody earlier on in earlier seasons is that, he doesn't like beef. So whenever he gets the beef, he wants to quickly resolve it quickly. Whatever he will do to resolve it quickly. But actually, that can be a frustration. And that can also be a part of the fact that you don't like to listen. The prolongedness of the issue is because you don't want to listen to it, because you feel like it's been long, and you just want to sort it out and get back to basics. But the truth is, you have to listen. You have to get to a place where you're able to understand what the person's saying and make the person feel also just as safe as you're feeling safe. Right? So I understand that, and then it went to a conversation about that and that D-Day. So I think there was a crossover in terms of reactions there from Amani. So yeah, guys, I mean, flipping tables. If you're gonna leave, maybe he might flip a table too. I don't know if you actually would literally flip a table, but I get why he may say that. If you're new to the channel, please like, share, subscribe. If you're a returning, you've got the minerals. We appreciate you. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and click on the bell button for notifications of the uploads.